In today's video, I'm currently in Georgetown Penang, where we're going to be spending a full day exploring the area and surrounds. Now these places will include Penang Hill, where we'll enjoy the steep ride up and down on the famous Penang Hill Railway, to walking through an incredible Chinese clan house, marvelling over their history at Peranakan Mansion Museum, to entering the Fort Cornwallis grounds.
About 20 Malaysian ringgit to enter. However, you have an option of a free water or free beer before you go and explore the fort. So very interesting.
Now aside from Penang Hill, for the most part today, we'll be walking from place to place with streets lined with buildings from colonial, Chinese, Indian and Islamic influence, which really makes this place unique. Now this is my second visit to Penang after only coming here for a day trip once last year, and I didn't get to visit any of these places mentioned, so I can't wait to head out, explore and share my experiences with you. So let's jump into the video where I'm up bright and early so we can get a head start on the day in this incredible place.
Okay guys, good morning. It is 7 AM and today we're exploring Penang. Now the reason I am up this early is because we have a full day of exploring ahead of us. One other main reason is because obviously less people are out, right? It's 7 AM, no one's around, so the early bird gets a worm today. Yeah, I'm just gonna find myself an ATM first, as a lot of these museums and certain places, they wouldn't take card for sure. So plan is I am going to find an ATM, get some cash out, and then we'll take a grab ride up to Penang Hill. As far as I know, it's mainly a train which goes up the side of a mountain. And I think, although there is some cloud cover here today, I think it's up high enough that we'll still get a good view of Georgetown and the island.
So after getting some cash out and ordering a grab ride, we're now making the 20-minute drive to Penang Hill Station, where we'll jump on the train which goes up the side of the hill. Now since we're here super early today, there isn't much of a queue, so we can just purchase the basic return ticket for 30 Malaysian ringgit, but if you're here on a busy day, you can pay a little extra for the fast lane to get on a bit quicker. The Penang Hill Railway opened in 1923 as a two-section system, however it was since overhauled in 2010 into a single-track railway. There are 8 stations along the 2-kilometre line which are stop upon request, hence the journey can take anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes depending on stops. Travelling at 10 metres per second, the track also passes through a tunnel which is the steepest in the world, and I have to admit it's certainly a lot steeper and faster than I was expecting. But as we climbed further up the hill, it became evident that I may not get the best view of Georgetown today due to the fog and cloud cover.
So that train went up a hell of a lot faster than I was expecting. And not surprisingly, we've come up into the clouds. I mean, what's the time? It's probably like 7:45 in the morning, so it's probably just a bit of fog, a bit of cloud cover for now. Who knows, in the afternoon it's probably fine. I'm not gonna stay here all day though, but I'm sure there is a spectacular view if you come up here on a nice day. Down there is supposed to be Georgetown. Oh well, at least the train ride was fun. Sort of what I expected. I mean, I'm sure it's nice when it's good weather, but I'm not gonna waste any more time up here. I think they're having a rave up here as well, which is pretty interesting. Check this out.
So after seeing what all the fuss was about, I quickly headed back over to the station to make my trip back down the hill.
know what? I reckon just come for the train. Especially when you're heading back down, it gets super steep. You can actually see the people in the front as well, they're like holding on, like it actually felt like a theme park ride. I think part of the problem is, at least for Westerners coming to Penang Hill here, just the vibe that I got on the top of the hill was very much like Chinese resort holiday tourism. You get that with the dancing ladies and these sorts of things, and yeah, a lot of cafes and things I'm sure, but at the end of the day, it's probably not somewhere I'd really recommend going to unless it's a nice day, you're coming for the view or you love hiking, then definitely check it out. But would I bother again? Maybe if I came back with Cindy, I'd go just for the ride on the train, but other than that, I probably wouldn't bother. Obviously for the sake of this video, I wanted to go on the train, but yeah, let's move on, get back into Georgetown.
Now there's a grab pickup and drop off spot at the Penang Hill Lower Station where we'll get our car back into Georgetown. And the next spot we'll be heading to is called Leong San Tong, which is a Chinese clan house right in the center of town.
So I've just arrived at Leong San Tong, which is a Chinese clan house. I'm gonna have to do more research into this though, because I'm not overly sure. I don't think it's a temple. I think it's more so a sign of Chinese power or significance within the area. But yeah, I'll do some more research, but very detailed. This is incredible.
After some research, I was able to confirm that the Clan House Temple and surrounding buildings were a mark of the Chinese presence within Penang, and the temple, which was completed in 1906, for lack of better words, was a show of dominance and wealth for Chinese migrants, generally from the Fujian province. But as I'm not a historian, all I can say is that the intricate details, architecture, and 15 Malaysian ringgit entry fee, I'd say it's certainly worth checking out.
Once again guys, the crucial rule when you're out exploring, get out early. There's no one here. I have the whole place to myself. And it's incredibly detailed, very spectacular, and you just think about how long it would have taken, you know, not just the building itself, but the artists who create the murals and paintings and the calligraphy. Would have taken a very long time. So it's certainly worth coming here and appreciating it. You would have thought since I was in Thailand for a couple of weeks, I'd be templed out, assuming this is a temple. But yeah, it's been a good week and a half now, 2 weeks since I've last seen one, so certainly is very spectacular.
After leaving the clan house, I started to make my way over to the Peranakan Mansion Museum, where on the way, I came across the overhead umbrella alley, which is just off Armenian Street. The whole area around Leong San Tong is a popular attraction for tourists due to the street art and markets, so I'd highly recommend coming to this area. And as mentioned to me earlier by my Grab driver, this area gets quite busy in the afternoons, so it's up to you if you'd prefer a more lively atmosphere. The Peranakan Mansion Museum is exactly what it sounds like, an old mansion that has turned into a museum. Now the Peranakans are an ethnic group defined by their genealogical descent from the first waves of southern Chinese settlers. The large house has display cabinets of old artifacts and still contains the old furniture and fittings where the families once lived. Now there is also a store within the museum where you can purchase jade, coins, statues and many more. But personally, I like the outside area and the temple, where I found some peace and quiet away from the loud crowd of tourists.
So, the Peranakan Mansion. Look, it was 25 Malaysian ringgit. Pretty much just sensory overload, to be honest. I was trying to work out where to look. Everything's full of details, and you know, it is quite incredible. Bit of history in the place as well. There was a tour you can go on for like an English tour.
Now at this point in the day, I'm hungry and thirsty, so once I've picked up some water, we'll find somewhere to eat.
Well, I was hoping for a bottle of water, but the vending machine seems to need my money more. So no water for me. I guess I'll find somewhere else. So you might be wondering why I'm having Italian food when I come to Penang. Well, for those of you who haven't followed my channel for a while, thank you very much, appreciate that. Sorry, so like I was saying, so those of you that haven't followed my channel for a while, I have something called celiac disease. Now, those of you in the West, I'm sure you would have heard of it. It means I have gluten intolerance, can't handle wheat, gluten or rye. In other words, it pretty much means that the lining of my stomach just totally rejects any of those three things. Another analogy I can put it into, if an average person eats plastic, what's their stomach gonna do? It's gonna reject it. It's probably not exactly on point, but hey, it's just an analogy. But yeah, even this morning when I was in the Grab car, the driver's, oh, you must try laksa, you must try this food. And I'm just thinking to myself like, yeah, mate, yeah. So, no good. But the funny part is, I actually I love food, I love cooking, but, you know, it all has to be gluten-free, etc. So people are surprised too, they think that you're so limited. Sure, when you travel, when I was in Vietnam, I was very limited, but Thailand, plenty of options, Malaysia, plenty of options, in Bali, hey, nasi goreng, that's always fine. I mean, sometimes they probably use some soy sauces that I can't really have, but I can get by. Plus, there's always plenty of supermarkets around where you can find food, which is gluten-free. But yeah, when I'm back in Australia, I always cook up a storm, cook a mean pasta. And I can cook a lot of Asian dishes, so. But yeah, just use the gluten-free soy sauce. But such is life. Everyone has their own things. Could be worse. Certainly not ever gonna let that stop me from traveling, that's for damn sure. Whew. It is hot out here. I'm not just a sweaty man, it is hot. But I was just gonna say, the one thing super distinctive about Penang is I suppose you call it the colonial type architecture. Have a look at this. It's quite impressive. There's obviously a history here behind all that. But the plan is I'm gonna walk down to the shorefront here, because the last time I came to Penang, I didn't actually go down here to the shorefront. I was only here for about 6 hours, and then I flew back to KL. So while I'm here, it would be criminal of me not to go see the ocean. So right now I'm just walking on the outside of what is Fort Cornwallis. This place was built by the British East India Company in the 18th century. So I'm just going to try and see if I can find an entrance and see if we can pop inside there, have a look. I think that'll be super interesting. I mean, once again, not all things about history are pleasant, but it is history, and history is what we learn from. So let's go check it out.
Built in 1786 and named after the Lieutenant General, the 2nd Earl Cornwallis, who was the Governor General of Bengal at that time, the fort never engaged in any combat during its operational history from 1786 to 1881, and today it's the largest standing fort in Malaysia.
Okay, so that was an interesting ticketing experience. It's only 20 Malaysian ringgit to enter. However, you have an option of a free water or free beer before you go and explore the fort. So very interesting. Don't see too many people walking around with beers, so I think we're all going for the water today. But yeah, we'll check this place out, see how it goes.
I spent a good 30 minutes or so walking through the fort, and although interesting, I couldn't help but be a little turned off by all the food trucks and touristy areas that scatter the grounds of the fort.
I think one thing I'm noticing, that I'm certainly seeing a trend since I've been here, when it comes to historical sites, sort of, in my personal opinion, they're slightly ruined because you've got food trucks everywhere, cafes. I think one place before you can buy beer. And then it's the same as the mansion I went to earlier. And that has a section towards the end where you could buy antiques and jewellery, and I felt like that room was bigger than the house. So, but I don't know, maybe this place just doesn't really hold that much meaning. Possibly understandable since it's colonial, British colonial history, les colonisers, but yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just a bit different. But for something that's been here for so long, I mean, don't get me wrong, the gardens are very beautiful, they're looked after nicely. They obviously have to be looking after the place if it's lasting so long. Then again, it is a fort, they're built to withstand, aren't they? But yeah, I don't know.
Aside from this, I did enjoy my walk around the grounds, and from what I can remember, this is my first time entering a fort, so it was a nice first for me. But as the heat was picking up in the afternoon, it was just about time for me to head back to the hotel.
So, outside the fort now, sweaty man, it's just on the perimeter here. Maybe I spoke a little early. It does look like they are trying to, you know, preserve the place. There's actually some pictures here which show that they're going as far as putting a moat back in, which apparently surrounded the fort at one period. So that's all very nice. But yeah, I still think I lost count how many sort of food trucks and sort of coffee, beer stalls you could see. I think I even saw something called the Chapel Beer Garden. But yeah, a little different, but it is what it is. But all right guys, I think we'll wrap up this little day adventure here in Penang, right here. It's almost 4 p.m. in the afternoon. We left at about 7 this morning, and what a day it's been. Did get a couple hours rest in the middle there, but still, I think we did get a fair bit done. I think we saw a fair few places, and I really hope this helps. If you're considering to come to Penang, or if you've been here before, please feel free to give me some tips. Where should I go next time I come here? Because I definitely will come back. I like this place a lot, so please let me know in the comments. But other than that guys, we're off to Bali tomorrow, and we're flying directly to Kuala Lumpur first. Bit of a layover there, and then we'll head to Bali in the afternoon. But once again, if you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this one, and if you could give it a like, it certainly does help, only if you have liked it of course. But other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. See you guys.